Hello all. Now, after completing SDLC modules, then what is software testing, verification, validation? Let's understand how testing actually travels in the entire project lifecycle. And this gives us a clear-cut idea about what SDLC is all about. This is a very important concept and very important interview question which is being commonly asked. Software testing lifecycle. As you see, it even starts with requirement analysis like SDLC. But what it exactly gives, what are the deliverables of every phase? Let's understand those. So, let's begin. The software testing life cycle, it is a systematic process that involves various phases to ensure the quality and functionality of a software applications. Each phase has a specific objectives and deliverables, making the overall testing process more efficient and structured. As we discussed earlier also, everything that exists has a purpose, has an objective. So let's understand. The first phase, requirement analysis. What are the objectives? The objective is understand and analyze the testing requirements from the stakeholders or the project documentation. How? Activities involved are identify types of tests to be conducted, gather details about the testing environment, and prepare requirement traceability metrics. Now, more on this particular requirement traceability matrix we will learn in the upcoming sessions, but for a time being, these are the typical deliverables from the requirement analysis phase. Question is, how this particular requirement analysis can be done? And answer we already know, verification. Just by reading the contents, just by understanding whether requirements stated are correctly mentioned, yes, no, if no, go back to the stakeholders, ask questions, get the answers, and then start working. This is all about requirement analysis. Second, test planning. Planning is required everywhere. There is a phrase which says that if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. So even in software testing, we have to start and we have to understand what kind of a deliverables we are dealing with, when, how, and that all gets covered under this test planning. Objective of this phase, develop a comprehensive test plan and strategy based on the requirements. More on these test strategies we will discuss in the next sessions. But here we actually finalize what kind of a strategy we're going to have under this particular test plan. What are the activities? Define scope, objectives, resources, schedules, and test environments. Identify risks and mitigation strategies. What are the deliverables? Test plan document, effort estimation document, risk management plan. So, this particular phase is very important. It gives us a clear-cut idea that what's going to get tested, how it's going to get tested, when it will get delivered, and how it will get delivered. So, this is a very important phase. Next is test case development. What is test case? Because we haven't discussed about test case. There is a separate topic or separate lecture on test cases. Just quickly I tell you the quick definition. Test case is basically a function written to test the application or the functionality under test. But how, when, that we will discuss in the coming session. For a time being, test case development is a phase. What is the objective? Design and develop detailed test cases and test scripts. Test scripts also. That means test case development covers manual test case writing as well as automation test scripts creation. Activities, write test cases, create test data, review and update test cases if needed. Automate tests if applicable. Now, my automation is applicable for my project or not, that will get decided in test planning where we will mention the test scope. We will have a separate detailed test plan creation session where I will explain more on this particular part. Next, test environment setup. Objective, prepare the testing environment to execute the test cases. Obviously, now the test cases are written. I need to execute, but I need to have an environment. What is environment? Let's understand. Set up hardware and software requirements, configure testing tools if those are involved, and establish test environment. In our earlier discussion, this point came like in organization there are multiple environments, like development environment is there, testing environment is there, staging environment is there, production environment is there. So one of the crucial environment is test environment. But what is test environment? It's a combination of hardware and software required to execute the test cases or the test scripts written in test case development phase. Now, we have to ensure that the test type of or the required test environment is ready to use. Deliverables, test environment ready document, and smoke test results. Smoke test. Quickly I'll tell you, smoke test is testing the testability of an application. A very simple thing. If you buy any mobile, for example, if you buy any mobile, what is the first test we do on a mobile? We see if it is getting on or not. This is what we call it as smoke testing. So ultimately, if I want to test all the features or some of the features or important features for me of mobile, then I will at least have to make sure that mobile is getting switched on. This is testing the testability of an application. This is what we call it as smoke test. Now, test execution. Objectives: execute the test cases and report any defect or issues. Activities: run test cases, log defects, retest, and track defect resolution. Update test cases as needed. Deliverables: test execution report, defect logs, and updated test cases if needed. Now, we are reaching to the last phase in this STLC, call it as test cycle closure. We have started with the process, analyze the requirements, plan testing, written test cases, make sure that environment is ready, executed, now the results are with us. What next? So this is test cycle closure. Objective: conclude the testing process and ensure all objectives are met which are written under test plan. Activities: analyze test results, document lessons learned. This is very important, because unless we have this lessons learned, our process improvement will be a challenge. So document lessons learned, create a test summary report, conduct a closure meeting with stakeholders. Obviously, we have to involve all the stakeholders, everybody who is important or a participant in the project development, and let them know what are the results and what is the next thing. Deliverables: test summary report, lessons learned document, test closure report. And this particular deliverables need to discuss and tell to all the stakeholders. Now, this covers software testing lifecycle in detail. Revisiting requirement analysis we can do with the verification. Test planning, where the objectives, scope, schedules, resources gets finalized. Test case development, here testers actually writes test cases, test scenarios, or test scripts if automation is involved. Environment setup, where we actually ensure that whatever test cases testers or testing team has written, they have this particular environment to execute. Actual execution, and test closure report, where we will publish the results with the stakeholders and to the stakeholders. Now, what are the benefits? I mean, this STLC is there, but what benefits we can have? It provides a structured approach of testing, so that it shouldn't be a random thing. Ensures thorough testing and quality assurance. Helps in identifying and fixing defects early in the development process, and this is what we are emphasizing since the beginning of this particular course. The more we find a defect, lesser is the cost, and cost is not always in terms of money, but many times cost is equal to time invested. Last, facilitates better communication and collaboration among the teams. So, this is all about this particular STLC topic. More on each phases we will learn in coming sessions. Thank you very much.